Hello, and welcome to the Money and Banking Law Podcast with Joe Sylvia, brought to you by Duane Morris, an international law firm with roughly 30 offices and 1,000 lawyers all over the world. I'm your host, Joe Sylvia. I'm a former Federal Reserve lawyer who represents banks, fintechs, and financial services clients on M&A, payments, and regulatory matters at Duane Morris. I'm also a core member of our banking, fintech, and digital assets and blockchain practices. Now, while we can't provide legal, financial, investment, or tax advice on the podcast, our goal for the Money and Banking Law podcast is to inform and educate our clients and friends on both the fundamental concepts and structure of the banking ecosystem, as well as critical developments in the law and regulation of money and banking. Thanks for joining us today. As always, if you have any questions from any of our podcast episodes, please reach out to me at jsylvia@duanemorris.com. On this episode, we're talking about asset and liability management with Jennifer Walker, who's a director at ALM First. Welcome, Jennifer. Let me begin by asking you to provide a little background on yourself and ALM First.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Joe, for inviting me. I'm super excited to be here, and I've enjoyed you and all of our conversations we've had over the years. You've been a great friend, and I appreciate this opportunity to be on your podcast today. Super exciting.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have you. So what's your background like, and then tell us a little bit about ALM First.
Sure. So my background is mostly in mortgage. That's what I've always done. I was in the mortgage industry, absolutely loved it. Spent some time doing that, and love everything about mortgages. I love community banks. And then when I was lucky enough to ride the wave of mortgages twice now in my career, I'm one of the few people that can say that. So I got to ride those waves twice. And then when the wave is over in the mortgage industry, it is really over. So like a lot of people, I got laid off, and then I got a new opportunity at Community Capital, where I worked with a loan marketplace. Really neat opportunity to meet and get to know community banks and community bankers, and really great opportunity to get into that space. And that brought me to my role here today at ALM First. A really good friend of mine, a mutual friend of ours, John, introduced me to ALM First and said, hey, you should talk to this girl. She really knows a lot of bankers. And, at ALM First, my role here is to bring on banks to our platform and to help them understand what we do to help banks and community banks in particular. So super excited to be here. And like we were just talking about, it is all about relationships. That's what I'm all about, and building those relationships. And those relationships carry with you throughout your career, throughout your professional life and your personal life. And I'm really thankful for all the many friends that I have in this industry that have brought me here to this point today. And just excited about the opportunities with ALM First. It's a really great company with incredible leadership, and really excited to be here and ride this wave today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know it's still relatively fresh since you've joined ALM First, and you touched on it a little bit, but what prompted you to make the move from Community Capital over to ALM First?
Sure. So a really good friend of mine introduced me and said, hey, would you be open to having a conversation with these guys? Really great people. He told me a little bit about the company. And I said, of course, I'm always open to having a conversation, and met with Ryan and several other people at the company. And they were just so impressive. And Ryan, who became my new boss, who was so lovely. And he said this amazing sentence to me. He said, Jennifer, you're doing a great job. And, it's nice to do what you do. And you can do a good job and be happy. But he said, you could really be successful and do really great things at ALM First, where you have the leadership and the resources and the support that you need to be successful. And I think you'd really do great things here. And that was music to my ears. And that sentence really changed my life and brought me here today. And as a good friend told me, changing jobs and changing careers, it's a very courageous thing to do. It is not easy to take that leap. And so I took a major leap, and I'm very happy. So I'm about a month and a half in, and really enjoying this opportunity here today.
Well, I admire you for it. I know, when I've moved positions and changed jobs, it's tough because it does sometimes, most of the time, feel like you're starting from scratch. And even if you've built up relationships over years and years and years, it's like, okay, well, how do I relearn some of the stuff that I need to know about the basic organization and the functionality, and how do I be successful, and how do I show my worth as soon as possible? So what do you like most about ALM First in the few months that you've been there so far? And then, what kind of impact are you seeing that you and the company are able to make?
Sure. So one of the greatest things was on my very first day, I got to go into the office in Dallas here. So it's kind of a hybrid role, work from home and work in the office when I can as well. Meeting all of the people, the leadership is just extraordinary. I feel like through the interview process, I had breakfast or lunches with just about everyone at the highest echelons of leadership. So that was really exciting. And then being invited to lunch with the CEO, a one-on-one lunch with the CEO, a woman, Emily Hollis, who's absolutely lovely. And just having that one-on-one time with her, meeting the team, meeting the people that I'm working with, the people that I'm depending on to make me look good every day. I appreciate those people immensely, spending a lot of time doing, I call them meet and greets, one-on-one meetings where we get to know each other and talk about how I can support them, how they can support me, and really trying to figure out how we're going to work together and be successful. So getting to know the internal team is incredibly important. And you're right, Joe. When I joined here, I forgot how incredibly hard it is to start with a computer from scratch. No emails, no technology, none of the things that I'm used to. I want to send an email. Oh, yeah, I don't have that person's email address. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I don't have access to that anymore. I want to look something up. I'm Googling a lot. Let me put it that way. So trying to remember these things and get my computer, the technology set up. It's like I used to say, we used to take cell phones and they stayed with the company when you left. You remember that?
Yep.
And now your cell phone moves with you. It's your personal cell phone, even though it's very much work related. And I feel like computers should be the same way, because giving up my computer and starting from scratch is a really hard thing to do. It took even more courage than I realized after a couple of weeks. So um, everyone who's changing jobs out there, I wish you the best of luck. It is not an easy thing to do, but it can be done. It is courageous, and we'll get there at some point here.
Yeah, it's those little things that you don't think about. Even if you've moved positions before, you never think, okay, well, what kind of systems am I getting into? What do I need to think about in terms of day one, day three, day 10? So it can be very challenging. So let's get into some of the work that you and ALM are doing. You meet with, a lot of community banks, especially.
Mhm.
Um, the community banks and credit unions that are navigating the interest rate environment as it's changed dramatically over even just the last decade. You know, when I've talked to them or heard them mention something like asset and liability management or an ALCO meeting, it's usually not with like a bright smile on their face. So what's the biggest mistake? And they're always concerned about the balance sheet. They're always concerned about the balance sheet. So maybe that's why there's just no smiles. But what's the biggest mistake in kind of this approach to understanding their balance sheets, understanding the interest rate environment? There's something that's missing?
Sure. So I think that's a really great point. And people keep telling me all the time when I was interviewing for this job and talking to the people, they said, what we do, it's not sexy. It's not exciting. Nobody wants to be talking about ALM. Nobody wants to talk about, these ALCO meetings. But I'm here to change that. I want to make it a more pleasant experience. As you know, Joe, I'm a very cheerful person like you are. I want to be happy. I want to have joy, and everything should be a good time, right? So trying to take these very difficult conversations and turning them into a more positive environment.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here to do. So asset liability management does not have to be a bad word. ALCO meetings do not have to be a bad word when you have the right support and resources. And that's what ALM First is here to do. We're here to support and help through those difficult, challenging moments and help you navigate a little bit better. The best thing about this job here at ALM First is the incredible team that I have behind me, the investment analysts, the investment advisors, the mergers and acquisition advisors, and the ALCO advisors. We have so many different advisors on all these different things, ALM advisors, people to literally hold your hand as you step through these very difficult processes. So I'm really excited about that, having this entire team dedicated to helping you navigate these difficult conversations.
Yeah, that's absolutely critical, especially, I like your point about trying to make it a more positive experience. People look at me when I'm advising on regulatory or compliance related matters, and I get the same kind of looks as the ALCO meetings do. And it's like, look at it in a different way, because it can be a source of revenue protection, not necessarily revenue generation from a compliance perspective, but it can protect the revenue that you do have or the profit that you do have. So interest rates have changed dramatically, at least since I got my mortgage, and even in the last few years. So they've been elevated for a little bit longer than I think people have expected, and I know there's a concerted effort different parties and different perspectives to try and get interest rates back down. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that, and I'm not going to try and play economist, but has that changed the conversations that you're having or that you've had over the last few years with your community bank and credit union clients?
Absolutely. So everyone thinks that we can predict interest rates. Nobody can predict interest rates. Even the biggest and best economists and the smartest people in the world, nobody can predict this. If they could, we'd be living very different lives, wouldn't we? I mean, we'd all be rich, we'd all be successful. It would be a very different story. But unfortunately, nobody can predict them. Nobody can. However, at ALM First, what we do is we don't worry about the interest rates, because we create bond portfolios that are created for interest rate risk and interest rate interest rate environments. Because when we create these bond environments, we know to buy some shorts, some longs. Everything is packaged together. So I have an incredible team of really wicked smart guys that and some women too. Some really wicked smart people who this is what they do all day. They are predicting. No matter where the rates go, they're going to protect you, because as a fiduciary, we have your best interest at heart. We're not trying to sell you bonds because we don't make money on that. That's what bond, brokers and dealers do. We are not a broker and a dealer. We are a fiduciary. So we have your best interest at heart. We are creating a bond portfolio for you that is just right, balanced just right. So no matter where the interest rates go, you are protected. And we are trying to help you drive that higher profitability through these different systems that we have that are proven. And with over $77 billion in investments under our management, we're pretty good at what we do.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I've seen ALM First at any manner of conferences for years and years and years. And for a long time, I just associated with asset and liability management. And there are so many other components to the organization. And this isn't really a sales pitch for ALM First, but I was really impressed over time as I've learned more and more about the organization and the different service offerings that you have for community banks, credit unions, and other financial institutions. So it's been really fascinating. And I know, there's kind of a core component that is the asset and liability management piece. But it's been interesting to kind of continue to learn as we've talked about it and as I've heard from others that have been at the company or moved on from the company. So usually people, and this is kind of getting back to the Grim Reaper position, right? That usually people look at asset and liability management as a compliance tool, something that has to be done and it's supposed to be done in a certain way, and it's not all that exciting. They don't look at it as a real strategy play or a strategic opportunity. So how are you pushing back on some of that perspective? Now, I mean, certainly now that you're at ALM First, but how are you pushing back on that? And are you finding receptivity to the strategic viewpoint?
I think that's a great question. And as I do know so many community bankers, and I go to talk to people and explain my new role here, and they say, oh, we don't need asset liability management. We have that. We've got someone taking care of that. That's great. We do so much more than that. I want to say we're asset liability management and then some, because we do a lot more than just asset liability management. We are here to be your strategic partner. We're here to become an extension of your bank without adding more full-time employees. That's what we do. The investment advisory, the M&A advisory, the ALM component is a big one, of course, but we also do balance sheet management. There's so many other things that we do that we are here to help you and your bank grow. We love community banks. I love community banks. It was my most recent LinkedIn post. So I love community banks. I am here to help them stay around for a long, long, long time. All of my friends are community bankers. I want this industry to thrive and to succeed and do well. And that's what we do at ALM First. We are here, and I appreciate those kind comments. And that was one of the things when I vetted this job, as I vet everything that I do, I vetted this very, very thoroughly, talked to a lot of people to see, what do you like? Anything I should be wary of? Anything I should be cautious of?
Yeah.
And everyone said the same thing you did. Wonderful people, incredible leadership. Most of the people that work here, they've been here for 10, 15, 20 years and then some. I've been so impressed with everything. The onboarding has been one of the best experiences I've ever had. It has been just such an incredible opportunity. I feel like this role was literally written for me. I feel like it's the best place for me. And I feel like I get this opportunity to go out and talk to my friends. I call them my friends because they may be prospective clients, they may be clients, but they're my friends. Ultimately, they become my friends. We work together. This becomes a very rewarding relationship. But I've had several calls lately, and we are here to partner with you. We are here to help community banks. We want to make your lives easier. And a lot of people say, well, we're happy with our vendors. We're happy with who we're using, our broker dealers. Well, let's take a second look. If you went to the doctor and they said, you've got this, here's your diagnosis, would you really just take that at face value and move on about your life and say, okay, that's where we are. This is what I need to do. You would get a second opinion. We are here to do that second opinion for every banker's favorite word, free. So for free, we will take a look at your bond portfolio and give you our thoughts. And I have a team of investment analysts who love it when I tell them what to do. Everyone loves it when I tell them what to do because I've been telling a lot of people what to do here lately. But telling them, hey, listen, here's a new bond portfolio from this bank. Let's take a look. Let's do a deep dive. What do we see that we could change? How can we make this better? Trying to figure out ways that we can, again, work together with the bank as an extension of that bank without creating more full-time employees. We are here. We have 15 investment advisors ready to, assist you without adding full-time employees. And our fees are such that you're going to like us because we are here as a fiduciary, but we are here to help make your lives easier, to make your lives better. That's what we do. I love my role. Who doesn't want to help people? I mean, we can make this more fun. And like you were saying, a lot of these things are not fun. But as I told my children years ago when they were little, I can make anything fun. And I can assure you, I can make cleaning the house fun. I can make anything in the world fun. And I'm here to make asset liability management fun as well.
That's amazing. So how are some of the conversations that you've had, at least to date, with some of your clients or prospective clients on looking at asset and liability management as a forward-looking tool as opposed to looking just in the rearview mirror to appreciate what the status of things are at the institution? How are people looking at that or approaching that forward-looking aspect of it in a different way?
Yeah. So we're here to help guide you again through that. Hold your hand literally. We'll attend the ALCO meetings with you. We can do that. We can do the research. We can make sure that you are more forward thinking because we don't want this to be a retrospective of what was done. We want this to be a forward thinking. What can we do in the future? What can we do to make things better? So trying to create these situations where we are there literally as your advisor. That's what we do. We come in as an advisor, a trusted partner to you, to your bank. We want to get to know you. We want to get to know the board. We want to get to know the C-suite of the bank and how we can move things forward and be a more forward thinking approach to all of these things so that you're not looking in the rearview mirror. We're going to use all of our smart investment analysts to figure out things we can do to help you move forward and be in the right direction.
That's interesting. So, I want to go back to something that you mentioned earlier, which was, we want to approach asset and liability management from a perspective of protection in any kind of interest rate environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so some folks might hear that and say, okay, well, they're just really conservative, so that's helpful, but I'm not going to be able to make as much profit here or profit there. I'm willing to take a little bit more risk. So based on the outputs that you have from asset and liability management, how should banks be looking to position themselves to take the right kind of risks and generate profits within the ecosystem that you all are creating that sounds conservative, but is really meant to handle all kinds of scenarios?
Sure. So, of course, we are very conservative. We have a team of incredibly smart investment advisors. They are looking at this every day, making those predictions, figuring things out, and they know how to move the levers. So when interest rates go up, they know all these different things to go up and down and up and down. And I am not the resident expert. Those guys are. So I bring in the resident experts. That's what I do. I bring everyone together to the table. That is my job as the quarterback, so to speak, bringing everyone together to determine how do we need to look at this? How do we need to approach this? And where do we go from here? So trying to bring all these smart people together and help move those levers up and down, wherever they may be, based on interest rates. And we have such smart people that way back in the financial crisis, everyone thought, oh, I'm going to buy long bonds in the long term. That's the smart thing to do. That's the safe thing to do. It wasn't.
Right.
We had people who were buying the short bonds. And so then everyone came, all of a sudden they're in a bad position. And I always want to be positive, but there are broker dealers out there. They only get paid when you make these trades.
Yep.
And that's something that I've been learning. And I'm shocked that people will just trust these broker dealers. I was in the mortgage business. I know all about these guys. I have worked with these guys very, very closely. It's basically a frat house on steroids selling, these as a broker dealer, that's what they're doing. They're selling the bonds again and again and again and again. That's where they make their money. That is not our approach. We do not make money on trades. We cut out the middleman. So we're kind of like the Costco of investments and your portfolio. So we cut out the middleman. We're not a broker dealer. We go straight to the Wall Street. We go straight to Goldman Sachs or wherever it may be that we're buying these bonds from. We buy them directly from them. When you cut out the middleman, you drive profits higher. That's what we do. So cutting out that middleman and being the Costco where we have that buying power, we know about the scarcity of assets. We're able to fill that void that broker dealers can't do that. They're just doing one-off deals, one-off here, one-off there. We are not doing that. We are looking at the whole picture, and that's what we're driving. So we're driving that higher profitability by looking at the total picture.
Okay, so total picture. Where do you see some of the biggest opportunities in the marketplace in the next 6 to 12 to 18 months or so?
Yeah. There's a really, really neat thing out there. I don't know if everyone knows about this, but they're BOLI 1035 exchanges. Yeah, you've heard about this. So
I've heard about this. Yep.
some people have heard about this. So we take it to a whole nother level. There are a lot of opportunities out there that people don't even realize about. And I've been having several calls where people are like, oh, really? You can do that? Yes, we can. And again, this is not my personal area of expertise. I have an entire team that I bring in. And again, they love it when I call them up and tell them what to do and say, hey, you're meeting with me tomorrow at 12 o'clock. They say, okay, I'll be there. So, these guys, they know how to do these BOLI 1035 exchanges. There are a lot of things you can do. They've got all this money and BOLI just sitting there on their general ledger. We can move these things around. We can help you create that, again, driving those higher profitabilities. That's what we do. Well-managed bond portfolios are not rate bets. We are trying to figure out the margins without creating large overheads. So that's what we're kind of trying to do there. And then continue disciplined lending practices while pushing on depositing, gathering. That can help as well. All these different things, that's what we're here to do. So bringing in all of these people together from ALM First to help you guys be better and help community banks thrive, that's what we're here to do.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic. So I don't want to take up too much of your time because you're a busy lady.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of practical takeaways that you would suggest for our community banks, credit unions, and any other financial institutions that might be listening in.
Absolutely. So I would say the bottom line for what we do is we are here to, we don't want you to keep trying to predict rates. We are not here to do that. Stop predicting rates, try to structure for resilience. And liquidity, clarity equals confidence. Make ALCO forward thinking. That's how we turn community institutions, their balance sheet risk into sustainable profitability. We're here to drive that higher profitability. Having a quick 15, 20-minute conversation with me and my incredible team of experts, just take a second look, see what else is out there, see what we can do to help you and your bank thrive. And again, we want you to enjoy your trusted vendor partnerships. That is great. We're not here to take things away. We're here to add value. So having a quick little conversation and letting us tell you what we can do, what we see, how we can add value, that's worth a 10 or 15-minute conversation.
Yeah,
So love that opportunity to be able to share with people how we can help them. We're here to help community banks. And everyone should be wanting to do that. So everyone would say, raise their hand, say, yes, I want that 15-minute call. I want you to bring in your trusted advisors to help us have that conversation. And again, I don't want to have conversations where I'm talking. I want to have conversations where the bankers are talking. What do they need? How can we help them? Let's listen and see where their pain points are so that we can come in with solutions.
Yeah, I mean, and organizations like ours that have a lot of different options and offerings and so forth, it's critical to listen to what the bankers are saying because that helps drive where we see the most efficiency for the relationship. If there's a relationship to be had. I mean, there may not always be one, but it's important to not only provide the education and offer it up, but also make sure that that education is efficiently provided to the actual functions that a community bank or financial institution is looking for support with. Because I think, as you know, many of them are really needing to leverage outside sources because they can't bring it all in-house. They just don't have the
Mhm.
capacity for a lot of different reasons. And so they need to leverage outside resources, outside expertise. So that's, I mean, it's exactly what both of us do, really. And I know there's other institutions that are just perfectly fine to work with. I think we're both, super successful and happy to work with as many community banks as possible. Um,
Mhm.
Look, I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate the time. I'm really happy that we got to do this. We've been talking about it for a couple of months, and I would really enjoy it if you came back on in a few months or a year, whatever it is, on a regular basis and touch base on see how things are going. What are you seeing in the market? What are you seeing in the rate environment and so forth, and how things kind of evolve from there. So I really appreciate if you consider coming back in the future. Uh,
Absolutely. It's been a very painless process, so I would be happy to come back. Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
I told you it was supposed to be casual, just a
It's very
conversation between
casual.
friends. Yes.
Good.
Um, so, last question: where can people find you professionally if they want to get in on the 15-minute conversation, find other support for you? Where can they find you?
Absolutely. So all over LinkedIn. So Jennifer M. Walker, you can find me on LinkedIn there. You can email me, jwalker@almfirst.com. You'll never forget that. Jay Walker, that's a pretty easy one. Jay Walker at ALMFirst.com. And then ALMFirst.com, you can find us there. Again, find out more information about us and all of the many, many services that we provide, because it's not just asset liability management, it's asset liability management and mergers and acquisition and balance sheet strategy. And we do a lot with mortgages as well, hedging and different things like that. So we're really a total resource for community banks. We're here to help and support and make your lives easier, help you drive higher profitability. That's what we're here to do. And a quick 15-minute conversation and a quick little second look, a second opinion, it's definitely worth your time, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree. I really appreciate it again, Jennifer. For all our listeners out there, that's all we've got for today. I'm just really looking forward to having Jennifer back. I hope everybody learned a little bit of something, and if nothing else, reach out to Jennifer with any questions. If you have any other questions on the podcast or any other episodes, you know where to get me, jsylvia@dwaynemorris.com. Finally, be sure to please like and subscribe wherever you do get your podcasts. I appreciate everybody listening in, and stay tuned for more podcasts coming soon from the Money and Banking Law Podcast. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much.